Thank you for listening to Shulchanaruchharav.com.
May one switch Mohels for the circumcisions of different sons that are born to him? Can I choose to hire one Mohel for my first son, a second Mohel for my second son, another Mohel for my third son, or must I try to stay consistent and always request the same Mohel to come and circumcise my sons? So the question of this matter in halacha is regarding whether there's a concept of chazaka regarding the mitzvah of milah. Meaning that once a certain Mohel has been accustomed to receive the honor by you to circumcise your children, does he establish some kind of chazaka or status quo of the position, and thereby you cannot so easily go ahead and just hire somebody else? So we find in the Chuvas of the Ma'arik in Shirish 76, who discusses a similar question of a family who was accustomed to hire a certain Mohel for the Brisim of their sons, and a certain circumstance came up and they wanted to know if they can hire a different Mohel to do the job instead. And there he writes the famous halacha that's recorded in Shulchanaruch in Yeredeya in the Ramah, in chapter 264 halacha 4, that once you hire one Mohel, you cannot so easily go ahead and hire someone else instead. And within his words, he discusses and mentions that even if you didn't yet really hire the Mohel, but this individual became accustomed to circumcise your children, your sons, then he has the right and precedence to be the next Mohel for your next son. And it shouldn't be delegated to somebody else. The Marik bases this on a Talmudic concept called Makirei Kahuna, which is a concept in the Talmud discussing an individual who became accustomed to give his tithings, his Truma and Maisa to a certain Kohen, and that we considered it as if it's been acquired by the Kohen since he became used to doing so. And he compares this similarly to the Milah, that once a Mohel has become accustomed to do your son's Milah, he so to say acquires the right for the future sons. Now the question is, okay, so we found an opinion that seems to be saying that you got to stay consistent with your Mohels. However, is this opinion binding according to halacha? So practically, even though the Beis Yosef in 264 records the wording of the Marik, he does not record it in the Shulchan Aruch, and neither do any of the Noisei Kelim, not the Ramah, not the Shach, or others, which seems to imply that they do not hold of this ruling. While they do record the other ruling that we mentioned, that once you've hired him you can't go back, they do not record this even stronger opinion, that once he became used to being your Mohel, you can't retract anymore. Nonetheless, Rabbi Akiva Eiger and other Achreidim do hold of this opinion of the Marik, and thereby practically the Ar Yidden, the Ar people who are accustomed to be stringent, that once they became accustomed to hiring a certain Mohel for their sons, they do not hire somebody else to do it if that Mohel is still available and willing to do the Milah. This applies certainly if the Mohel has already circumcised 3 of one's sons, and some are even stringent after 2 sons or even after 1 son to not use another Mohel for the future sons. Nonetheless, despite the above opinion, many people are not particular in this, as they rely on the dissenting opinion that we mentioned, as well as the established community custom to not acquire the rights of circumcising one's sons to any individual Mohel. And this certainly applies if one has good reason to going to another Mohel, such as the other Mohel is of greater righteousness or expertise than the previous Mohel. So to summarize this halacha, although some are accustomed to keep the same Mohel for all their sons once he began doing the circumcisions, nonetheless the widespread custom is not like this opinion, and it does not obligate one to do so if he doesn't have a community custom already established by his area. Certainly, the Mohel cannot demand the bris milah of your sons on the basis that he did your previous sons based on this. It goes without saying that it is permitted to take a different Mohel if he's of greater righteousness or expertise, even in those communities that are accustomed, like the stringent opinion, to try not to switch Mohels between the milahs of their sons.
Thank you for listening to Shulchanaruchharav.com. Our free services of making Torah knowledge available to the public depends on donors like you. Please help us continue our work through making even a small contribution at Shulchanaruchharav.com under the Daily Halacha Dedication section or in the subscription page. Also, check out our online courses and many Sefarim available for purchase that will both enhance your Torah knowledge and help support our work.